Welcome back to another reading and correcting with me, Kindar, the Tiger Writes, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. These are where I read a chapter from one of my stories and correct it as I go. Today, if you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. If you want to support me, that is on my Patreon. Today we're doing chapter 2 of The World Which Is. Oh, I mistyped the title on here. Eat up, Grandpa Lewis says, lobbing a shiny something over his shoulder. The monster screeches at the action and lunges for him. Oh, I don't think so. As I catch the foil-wrapped bar, he punches the head. There's a flash of energy from the impact, and the monster's head whips away, turning its body whips away, pulling its body and leaving gouges in the ground where its claws are planted. Base, he snaps. Where did this thing come from? Tell me they haven't somehow gained stealth capability. I don't hear the answer. Base can't speak outside its wall, other than by the speakers atop them, and we're too far from them. And we're too far for that. But Grandpa and him are connected, since he's the base commander. I quickly unwrap the bar so I'll be healed. It's one of Mr. Rogers' revitalizing snacks. He's a cook/alchemist who Bases has a contract with for combat-related food. The bulk of what he makes for Base is like this one: quick healing plus regenerative buff. Come on, Grandpa Lewis says to the monster as he motions for it to attack. Don't turn shy on me now. It doesn't lunge. Whatever it is, it's smart enough to learn from pain. It paces left and right, studying him. As soon as I swallow the last bite, my health jumps up, and the regen buff appears in the top left of my sight. Okay, I need to get something, because there we go. I need this, because that's something we've established. Buff appears to my sight. Let's do that. All right, there we go. Rogers revitalizing bar, 2 hours. 2 hours? I didn't think that lasted so long. I've only had one of the bars Mr. Rogers sells from his shop, and that one only lasted 15 minutes. It was my 12th birthday present for Grandpa. A way for me to mess around with the older boys without okay. A way for me to mess around with the older boys without Dad having to worry about me getting injured. Dad hates those bars. Says all they do is get people to think they're invincible and get themselves killed. The monster screeches and runs at Grandpa as I as I push myself to my feet. Maybe it isn't that smart after all. It stops at the last moment and pivots. Grandpa swears and raises both arms to take the coming tail's impact. There's another flash of energy, and he's launched straight into a building, cracking the wall. Okay, he pushes himself away. I guess you want to play hardball. He takes a steps and jumps. His boots glow as he goes up way higher than should be possible. 10, maybe 15 meters. Then he doesn't so much falls as propels himself down. The impact blinds me, and the shockwave presses me against the wall. When my sight clears, the dust is settling, and Grandpa's getting to his feet. The creature doesn't move. The icon in the lower left of for my combat log flashes blue. If I had a class, that'd tell me I gained experience. In a few days. Only a few more days to go. This means it's dead. I focus on it. All right, so now I need... How did I... Okay. All right, let's just grab this that I can repurpose. Recalling. Level 5. Interesting. The oh right, those are those. Ben added put those, which means they used a different. Okay, yeah, I'll have to. Nah. Ba 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 ba. Ta 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 ta. Okay, so. Do I add the row? Cursor is here. So this is going to change slightly. Huh. It's not often my 15 in perception. It's high enough to get me basic information. Let's repurpose that again. Whoa, not the whole blipping thing. Just that. It's not often. Nah. Or check. Or triggers a check. Okay, let's now that is fixed. This means it's dead. I focus on it. Dreckling, level 5. Perception check successful. A precursor to the more dangerous dragon, the Dreckling thrives in higher ether regions, rarely traveling the borders of their mating territories except under duress. Huh. It's not often my 15 in perception is high enough to get me the basics. Cryptozoology check unsuccessful. Or trigger a check for a more appropriate skill. You didn't answer my question. He states, well, okay, at this point, because of that, I need Grandpa. You didn't answer my question, Grandpa states, tapping the side of his helmet, which causes the visor to split and retract to the left and right. I didn't want to distract you? I try. He motions for me to try again. I sigh. I wanted to help. He lets out a sigh of his own, way longer, and filled with way more emotions. Mainly disappointment, I think. When he puts a hand on my shoulder, there's none of the strength I saw him use. Dennis, you're only 15. I'm going to be 16 in a few days, I replied defiantly. And I think your father would like you to be alive to see your choosing day. His choosing for me day, you mean? He doesn't have a response for that. That hasn't exactly been discreet about their conversations. Dennis, you can't gain experience. This isn't going to help you. I slap his arm. The hope was to get him to remove his hand. The result is my hand stinging. Not everything has to be about getting something out of it. My anger's undercut by the pain. There are people in trouble, and I can help. Your skills are only 15. Grandmother says that's just a number, and it doesn't mean anything. Someone clever can do more with 15 than someone not as clever. Sometimes I wish my mother would stop training you. I grin triumphantly. Motions from the alley catches both our attention. The town's folk exiting its protection. My spirit sinks as Grandpa's smiles spread. It's safe, he tells them, then pats my shoulder, and Dennis will escort you back to base to make sure you aren't in danger on the way there. He looks at me. This is how you help, Dennis. As expected, the walk to the gate is boring. Grandpa knew that was going to be the case. All the fighting is taking place at the edge of town. At the edge of town. Edge of town. Maybe there's a few incursions, like the Dracoling, but nothing's going to make it this far. Dennis, they says as the last of the people step through, I have strict instruction from the commander that the instant you step within my walls, I am to prevent you from leaving again. He has authorized me to use all necessary methods. I stop in my track and look at the line on the ground made by the doors as they close and open. I want to thank him for giving me the choice, but Grandpa can access his records. He's already not going to be happy, Base told me before I stepped through. Dennis, you have to come in, he states. Your father is worried about you. I can help. Some of the guards are 16, and all they get when they take the class is a handful of bonus to their attributes and skills, and one ability. I doubt any of them raise their skill otherwise. They're still just like me, basically. I glance at the regen buff. Roger's revitalizing bar, 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 2 seconds. That's a lot of time. I turn and run. I'm going to help. Dennis, I order you to come back. Base calls after me, but I can tell he's only going through the motion. Okay, where to go to both help and not run into anyone who'll send me back. Grandpa was in the Greenwood neighborhood, but with his suit, he can go anywhere in minutes, so I need a path that with the taller buildings and overhang to block his sight, just in case. That's White's Mill. It'll take me to Blue Basket, and then it's through Red River, and I'm at the front line, where I can get lost among the guards. I make it to Red River without trouble. A few blocks into it, I hear growls and grunts and metal against metal. There's a yell of pain, and I run in that direction. An injured and still living monster is a more dangerous monster. They're going to need help. I skid to a stop and back behind a corner as I see the old woman in the middle of 7 Ramtham. Or not. Of all the bad luck, if she sees me, she's not going to send me back to base. She's escorting me there herself. I look around the corner as grandmother steps out of the way of one of the rams swing, then casually slashes at it, cutting through its thick wood and leaving a bleeding line. She's already out of the way from another attack, then under a club, casually steps over a low swing, each time lullaby, that's her sword, cuts them, and most of the time parts of them fall off. It's magical, of course. The old-timers who aren't afraid of the world have all accumulated lots of magic and stuff. It's why, nearing 100, she only looks a few years older than Grandpa Lewis. Wow, what the hell? Or okay. I think maybe she just had good genes, like she keeps saying, whatever that means. She's got that fight well in hand, so I don't have to stick around. I go around that block and I'm back on track. I run into the fight just before the end of Red River. More ram thumb, a lot more, and fighting a bunch of guards. Some are in metal armor, most in leather, like me. I look and I spot someone in trouble. I'm next to him, sword in hand, and plug the ram thumb's trusty blade. I push it to the side and thrust. It backs up, snorting and leveling its small black eyes at me. Thanks, the guard says. No prob. I lunge, then parry and swing. Quick steps, light on my feet, aware of anything my opponent might do. Then the guard is at my side and we exchange a smile. By forcing it to split its attention, we have it down quickly. Their wool's better armor than the leather we're wearing, but that just means it takes more skill to cut and hit exposed flesh. I get a few cuts of my own, but the regen buff takes care of that. With it dead, we give each other a nod of acknowledgement, then separate to help others. Roger's revitalizing bar, 51 minutes, 42 seconds. All right, a woman says when their last ram thumb falls. Anyone too injured to continue, head back to base. The rest form around me. There are more of these closer to the palisades. I join them and someone does a double take on noticing me. Granger's a few months older than I am. He was training with us until his choosing day, and he recognizes me. He gives a shrug, goes back to looking ahead, and I breathe a little easier. Everyone knows how my dad feels about me in danger. Within 5 minutes, we're fighting again. This time, we're part of a larger battle, and further down, I see the destroyed palisade. Now I know how they got in, although not how they made the hole. Those are made of hardwood. Grandpa can punch one of them and not do visible damage. In the chaos of the fight, I lose track of everyone, but I'm too busy to worry about it. If I hadn't capped my fighting skill, this would have given me 1 to maybe 2 levels. Actual combat is way better at raising skill than anything else. I find out I also lost track of the enemy when one of them rams me. Feels like I've been hit by a ton of bricks as I slide on the ground until a broken wall stops me. That's where they get their name from. They look like rams, and when those horns connect, it's like a ton hits you. Roger's revitalizing ration. Wait, what? Ration? Where did I... Bar. How did I change the name? Bar. And it should be, yeah, bar. Roger's revitalizing bar. 20 minutes, 15 seconds. 20 minutes? Where did the time go? You. I'm in orders and I stare. He's a massive muscle. Instead of leather armor, he wears a tan-skinned jacket and pants. The boots are thick and reinforced. These civilians need escorting back to the bunker. That's Chuck. Are you daft, kid? He points to a group that's huddled in a corner. Get moving! Then there's a metal staff in his hand and he uses it to hit a ram thumb that's got too close and the thing flies over the palisade. Chuck's in the fray, making space for guards to form behind him. I saw Chuck up close. Holy mother of... Grandpa tells stories of him. And I know he comes to court twice a year with the caravan he leads. But to be this close to him? To have him give me an order? He gave me an order. I'm on my feet, grabbing my sword and running for the townsfolk. They're a mix of older and younger. Grandparents who'd been taking care of children. Time to go, folks, I say as I reach them. Sorry for this, but we need to hurry. I have less than 20 minutes until the buff's gone. I hurry them along. Then I'm in the lead. Slowing to keep pace with them. We encounter one ram thumb, which I only deal with until they've continued far enough and I've incapacitated so it can't follow. Someone else can finish it. I recognize the courtyard of the Pink Tulip Market. Pink Tulip Marketplace. That's one word. And motion to slow. The air is calm here. We should be safe. Is everyone okay? Anyone need first aid? That's another skill. The rules say we must. Okay. Do I need to repeat that? Or actually, okay. The rules say we must all have that skill. But the older folks don't always care to follow them, and most of the kids look to be under 10, so they wouldn't have started on those yet. We are okay, an older man says, panting. Thank you for leading us away. It's my pleasure. We should keep going, but we can take it at a more leisurely pace now. 5 minutes on the buff. The ground trembles. What was that? A kid asked, and the grandparents gathered them close. Move! I order, pointing toward the base. A few blocks away, the roof of a building disappears as the building falls. Now! I equip my sword for the little good that's going to do. I think I'm about to see whatever the Ramtham used to break the palisade. There's less of a panic from them as they run. There's less of a, you know what, I don't need this. They run as another building falls. The shaking intensifies. There's no denying it anymore. That thing's coming here. I watch their bag vanish and stand my ground. If I don't give whatever that is something to focus on, it might go after them. And that concludes Chapter 2 of The World Which Is. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next chapter is going to be up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read the story as well as the other chapters that have been posted, they are up on Royal Road, where you can access them for free. If you want to read ahead of that, you can do so on my Patreon, where even at the lowest tier, you should be a few chapters ahead. And if you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. The links are in the notes, and with that, I shall wish you a good day.